Evan, she said, real men don't get jealous when their woman has male friends. There it was. The sentence she'd been polishing in her head. The line she'd heard on some podcast, like truth could be downloaded and worn like perfume. I dried my hands. Okay. That word, okay, was all I had left of peace. It was a fence. It was a door. It was a way of saying I'm hearing you without stepping into your storm. Mallory's smile sharpened. That's it? Okay? What do you want me to say? I asked. She lifted her phone again, thumbs flying. I want you to stop acting like I'm doing something wrong. I watched her screen. Not the content, just the posture. The little tilt of her head as she composed. The way she angled the camera up, like the world should see her from above. She posted it. My girlfriend posted, real men don't get jealous when their woman has male friends. She added a selfie, soft light, bare shoulder, the kind of picture that pretends it's casual while screaming for attention. Then she looked at me. There. Now everyone can see I'm not crazy. Everyone. That was her favorite witness. Strangers. I picked up my own phone. You're right, I said. Her eyes narrowed. Don't start. I opened the app. The post was already collecting hearts. People she hadn't spoken to in years suddenly cared about her boundaries. Comments rolled in like ants to sugar. Queen. Preach. Men are so insecure. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I typed under her post, "You're absolutely right," and I hit send. Mallory blinked, confused by agreement. Good, she said, like she'd trained me. I didn't stop. I went to my profile, the one she monitored like a border patrol agent, and I changed my picture. It wasn't a new photo. It was from last month, Tessa's birthday, a group shot at a bar. I cropped it tight so it was just me and Tessa, her cheek pressed close because she'd leaned in to be funny, the kind of candid moment that looks like a secret if you cut the rest away. Then I hit save. Mallory's phone exploded in her hand. Not literally, just a flood of buzzing and chiming, little panicked jolts. Her eyes darted, reading, rereading, mine trying to catch up with the new math. What did you do? She snapped. I updated my profile picture, I said. With Tessa? Her voice cracked on the name. She didn't like Tessa in the way women don't like mirrors. You said real men don't get jealous, I said. So I'm not jealous. I'm adaptable. She stood up so fast her chair legs screeched. Delete it. Right now. I kept my voice level. Why? Because people will think... Think what? I asked. That I have a female friend? Her mouth opened and shut. Her eyes were wet, but not with hurt. With fear. With the sudden realization that her rules didn't cover this. In 43 minutes, the post she made to shame me turned into a bonfire under her own feet. Messages poured in. Tessa texting her, friends asking what was going on, a cousin commenting a laughing emoji, some guy Mallory used to flirt with writing. Damn. Evan moving on fast. Mallory's nails dug into her palm as she stared at the screen. You're doing this to punish me. No, I said. I'm doing it because you told me what a real man does. She stepped closer, voice low. You're embarrassing me. I laughed once, short and ugly. Welcome to the feeling. Her eyes flashed. You don't even know what you're talking about. I nodded toward her phone. Whose group chat? She snatched it up and turned the screen away. That was answer enough. Then she said the thing that made my stomach go cold. It's not like I'm the only one doing this, she hissed. Brent's married too. My hands stopped moving. Brent. A name I'd heard in passing. A coworker, a client contact, a guy who's good with numbers. Always said with a shrug like he was background noise. My chest tightened, but my face stayed calm. I didn't give her the satisfaction of my pain. I smiled like it hurt. Mallory watched me, misreading the smile as surrender. Delete it, she said again, softer now, like she was offering mercy. I picked up my phone and opened my settings. No, I'm deleting something else. I deleted her contact photo first, the one where she'd laughed on a beach 2 summers ago, sunlight in her hair, back when I still believed laughter meant safety. I replaced it with her name only. Then I locked my phone and looked at her. Okay, I said. And for the first time that night, she looked like she didn't know what I meant. At 3:11 a.m., supermarket parking lots look like abandoned movie sets. The overhead lights hum. The air smells like damp asphalt and old cardboard. My car's dashboard glowed faint blue, bathing my hands as they rested on the steering wheel. Gabe sat in the passenger seat, coffee in one hand, expression in the other. Gabe was my friend from work, the kind of guy who reads user agreements for fun and remembers every policy number like it's a birthday. I'm not saying don't do it, he said. I'm saying do it clean. I'm not doing anything illegal, I said. You'd be surprised how fast clean turns into messy when you're emotional, he replied. I stared out at the empty cart's corral. I'm not emotional. Gabe snorted. Sure, that's why we're having a midnight meeting in the frozen food lot. He had a point. I told him what Mallory said. Brent's married too, and watched Gabe's eyebrows climb. Okay, he said. So, receipts. I'd already started, without calling it that. It wasn't hacking. It wasn't spyware. It wasn't any of the dramatic nonsense you see online where a guy suddenly becomes a secret agent because his feelings got hurt. It was boring. It was timestamps. Mallory posted a story at 9:14 p.m., tagged at a girls' night bar across town. But her shared calendar had client dinner penciled in for the same time, something she forgot I could see because we'd synced calendars back when we were still a team. The phone bill on our shared plan showed long calls to one number after midnight, not messages. Calls. 15 minutes. 23. 39. I didn't know what was said, and I didn't need to. The duration was a confession all by itself. Brent's social media was public, gym selfies, espresso shots, a smug little caption once, late night grind. The hustle. Every time Mallory said she was at Tessa's, Brent posted something from a neighborhood near Tessa's place. Not proof, not a smoking gun. But the smoke was getting thick. Gabe leaned forward. You're not going to confront her? No, I said. Good, he said, because confrontation gives liars home field advantage. I glanced at him. You've said that before. Because it's true, he said. If you want the truth, don't ask. Verify. The next week, I did something I'd never done in my life. I waited. Waiting is a skill nobody teaches you. When you're a kid, you wait for birthdays. When you're an adult, you wait for emails, for apologies, for the moment you can finally admit you've been living in a lie without sounding dramatic. Mallory moved through our home like nothing was wrong, like the same air could hold dinner plans and betrayal at the same time. She'd ask what I wanted to watch. She'd laugh at something on her screen. She'd say, babe, the way someone says, sir, to a cop. Respectful, careful, not intimate. Mallory came home smiling, smelling like expensive soap and other people's air. She tossed her purse on the chair, kicked off her shoes, and kissed me like she was punching a time card. You're quiet, she said. I'm tired, I said. Work? Life, I said. She laughed like that was a joke. Then she went to shower. I sat at the kitchen table and opened a manila folder. The folder was ridiculous. Like I was my father keeping appliance warranties. But it helped. Paper makes chaos behave. I printed the phone bill page with the call durations. I printed screenshots of her public posts, her real men don't get jealous line included, because I could feel the day coming when she'd swear she never said it. I made notes, date, time, what she told me, what reality showed. Then, one night, my building's lobby camera sent me a push notification. Motion detected. I opened it and watched the grainy clip. Mallory walked in, hair perfect, coat open, and behind her, half a step back, like he knew his place in the secret, was Brent. He wasn't some shadow, he was real, tall, clean-cut, the kind of guy who's never had to apologize for taking up space. Mallory didn't look at the camera. She knew exactly where it was. She kept her face angled away. Brent glanced up once, and he smiled. The timestamp read 10:47 p.m. At 10:47 p.m., Mallory had texted me. At Tessa's. Phone dying. Love you. I stared at my screen until my eyes burned. Gabe's voice echoed in my head. Do it clean. So I didn't storm downstairs. I didn't start a screaming match in the lobby. I didn't do anything that would make me the headline in Mallory's story about her controlling husband. I saved the clip. Then I did something colder. I opened my contacts and found Tessa. We weren't close. She was Mallory's best friend, which meant she was either an ally or a casualty, depending on the week. I typed, "Hey, you busy tomorrow?" 3 dots appeared. Then, why? I stared at her reply, feeling the strange pull of an opening door. Because I think you deserve to know something, I typed, and I hit send. Mallory packed for the work retreat like it was a vacation. 2 nights, she said, a conference hotel by the airport, meetings all day, dinner with clients. She laid out outfits on the bed with the seriousness of a surgeon choosing tools. You don't have to drive me, she said, already checking her makeup in the mirror. I know, I replied. But I can. She hesitated, just a flicker, then smiled. Okay. If you want. We drove in silence except for her playlist, songs about freedom and self-love, the kind of soundtrack you pick when you want to feel innocent while doing something ugly. At the drop-off, she leaned in and kissed my cheek. Don't overthink, she whispered. I watched her walk inside, suitcase rolling behind her like a faithful dog. Then I drove home, and an hour later, I packed my own bag. Not rage-packed, not dramatic, just prepared. I booked a room at the same hotel, not under her reservation, under mine, my name, my card, my record. When I arrived, the lobby smelled like citrus cleaner and expensive boredom, the kind of place where everyone pretends they're important. The clerk smiled at me. Checking in? Yes, I said. Evan Holt. He typed. 2 nights. Actually, I said, lowering my voice, my wife is already here, Mallory Holt. She usually adds me for emergencies. Can you confirm I'm listed? The clerk frowned, tapped more keys. 1 moment. My heart thudded, but my face stayed still. Then the clerk nodded. Yes, you're listed as spouse contact on that reservation. Mallory had done that months ago, back when she still pretended we were a partnership, a tiny administrative choice coming back like a boomerang. I'm not asking for her room number, I said. I just need a replacement key if mine doesn't work. She's asleep. He hesitated, then slid a key card across the counter. I'm supposed to verify ID. I handed it over. Clean, legal, boring. Upstairs, the hallway carpet had a pattern that made my eyes feel wrong, like it was trying to hypnotize you into forgetting where you were. I walked slow, listening. I found the door. The key card beeped green. The door's little electronic chirp was the most cheerful sound in the world, like it didn't understand what it was unlocking. I thought about all the other couples on this floor, business travelers brushing their teeth, tired parents ordering room service, strangers pretending they weren't lonely, everybody behind a numbered door, everybody with a story they thought no one else could hear. For a second, I stood there, hand on the handle, feeling the thin wall between my old life and my new one. Then I opened it. The room was dim, curtains drawn, the glow of a TV paused on some hotel channel menu. On the floor by the bed, 2 pairs of shoes, Mallory's heels, men's dress shoes, bigger, scuffed at the toe. On the nightstand, 2 water glasses, one with lipstick on the rim, one with a smudge of something darker, and a man's jacket tossed over the chair. Mallory sat up in the bed, hair messy, eyes sharp with annoyance instead of guilt. "Are you kidding me?" she snapped. Brent stepped out of the bathroom, buttoning his shirt like he was finishing up a routine. He looked at me like I'd interrupted him in his own house. "Evan," he said, calm as a salesman, "this is unexpected." Mallory threw the sheet off her legs and stood, nakedness covered but not hidden. She moved like she was the one in control. "What the hell are you doing here?" she demanded. "I'm on the reservation," I said. "Apparently, I'm still useful for emergencies." Brent's mouth twitched, almost a grin. "Look, man, we can talk." "I'm recording," I said, holding up my phone, camera on. "Say whatever you want. Say it clear." Mallory's eyes flashed. "Put that away." "No," I said. Brent stepped toward the door, like he planned to slip past me and disappear into the elevator, back into whatever respectable life he wore during daylight. I moved sideways, blocking him, not aggressive, just present. He stopped, his jaw tightened. "You're making a scene." "You made it," I said. "I just walked into it." Mallory's voice rose. "You're humiliating me." I kept my tone low. "No, I'm witnessing you." Brent tried again, shoulders squaring. "Evan, you don't want to do this here." "You're right," I said. "I don't." I stepped into the hallway, holding the door open. "Go ahead. Walk out. Let the hotel camera see you leaving my wife's room." Brent froze, eyes flicking down the hallway. He knew exactly where the cameras were. Men like him always know where cameras are. Mallory grabbed Brent's arm. "Just go," she hissed. "I'll handle him." Brent pulled free and slid past me, face hard. In the elevator lobby, he turned and gave me a small, polite smile, the kind you give a stranger you're about to screw over. I leaned close, just enough for him to hear. "Relax," I said softly. "I'm not going to hurt you." His eyes narrowed. Then I added, "But you're going to remember tonight every time you touch a door handle." Brent's smile vanished. The elevator arrived. The doors opened with a cheerful ding that felt obscene. Brent stepped inside, and as the doors closed, Mallory's voice carried from the room behind me, sharp and panicked. "Evan, wait!" I didn't. Mallory tried to rewrite the night before the sun even came up. By 8:12 a.m., she'd posted a story, a vague quote about toxic insecurity, over a black screen. By 9:03, she'd posted a selfie at the hotel gym with the caption, "Choosing peace." By lunchtime, the narrative was clear. I was the problem. She told Tessa I'd followed her. She told her co-workers I was unstable. She told anyone who'd listen that I was controlling, and she was finally setting boundaries. It would have been impressive if it hadn't been so predictable. That night, I went to the rooftop bar Mallory loved, the one with overpriced cocktails and a view of the city like a promise. I didn't go alone. Tessa came with me. She showed up in a denim jacket and a face that said she'd been crying in her car before walking in. Her eyes were red, but her posture was steel. "You didn't tell me he was coming," she said, nodding toward Brent, who was already at the bar like he belonged there. Mallory's jaw tightened when she saw us. "What is this?" "A social gathering," I said. "Male friends, female friends, no jealousy, remember?" Tessa didn't smile. She watched Mallory the way you watch a dog you once loved, that you're not sure you can trust anymore. Brent turned slowly, drink in hand. He looked me up and down like I was a customer he didn't want. "You're really committed to making this weird," he said. "I'm committed to being accurate," I replied. Mallory stepped closer, voice sweet for the audience. "Evan, can we talk privately?" "No," I said. "You like witnesses." Her eyes flashed, but she kept her smile. "You're scaring people." I looked around. Phones were out. Not because I was loud, but because Mallory was magnetic in a train wreck way. People could sense something was happening. Tessa leaned toward me and whispered, "She told me you were spiraling." I whispered back, "She tells everyone whatever keeps her clean." Mallory heard the word clean and flinched. She'd always hated that word in my mouth. I pulled out my phone not to threaten, just to show. I opened her post from last night. The real men don't get jealous line. You posted this, I said, holding it up. So why is it embarrassing when I have a female friend? Mallory's smile started to crack at the edges. Brent smirked and leaned in, voice low. You're the backup plan, he whispered to me, like he was doing me a favor by telling me the truth. I met his eyes. No, I said. I'm the aftermath. Mallory lunged for my phone. Not a full attack, just a quick, ugly grab with manicured fingers. I stepped back. Her heel caught on the leg of a bar stool, and she stumbled, arms flailing for balance. A glass tipped. Liquor splashed. The whole rooftop went silent for half a second. One of those little pauses where everyone's brain records the moment. Mallory's face twisted, not with pain, with rage. Look what you made me do, she snapped, loud enough for people to hear. I didn't raise my voice. You did it, I said. Just like you did everything else. Tessa's breath hitched beside me. Mallory turned on her. Are you seriously here with him? Tessa's voice was quiet. Are you seriously here with Brent? Brent shifted uncomfortably. The spotlight didn't like landing on him. Mallory's eyes darted, calculating. Tessa, don't be dramatic. You know me. Tessa swallowed. Yeah, she said. I do. That was the moment I knew the story was going to turn. Not because of me, because of Tessa. I excused myself from the bar and stepped into the hallway near the elevators, where the music dulled and the air smelled like cleaning chemicals and bad decisions. I opened my email draft. Gabe's words echoed, no threats in writing, so I wrote facts, dates, times, overlapping travel, company card charges I'd found on a shared account statement, public posts, hotel confirmation showing Mallory's reservation included me as spouse contact. A packet, boring, devastating. I addressed it to the compliance mailbox at Mallory's company, the one listed on their website for reporting conflicts of interest. Then I attached the receipts. I hovered over send, and I hit it. When I walked back onto the rooftop, Mallory was staring at her phone like it had bitten her. What did you do? She hissed. I smiled, not kind. You wanted everyone to see, I said, so I gave the right people a better view. Sunrise made the kitchen look honest. The counters were spotless. The coffee tasted burnt. The manila folder sat open like a mouth. Gabe sat across from me, laptop open, tapping his finger on the table. You sent it? He asked. Yes, I said. He exhaled slowly. Okay. Now you don't poke the bear again. You let the process work. That afternoon I did the most unromantic thing you can do for someone you once loved. I paid a lawyer, not a pit bull billboard guy, a quiet family attorney in a small office that smelled like paper and lemon polish. She asked questions in a voice that didn't flinch. Did you access her accounts without permission? She asked. No. Did you place any trackers on her car? No. Did you threaten anyone in writing? No. She nodded, like she'd been waiting for one honest person all day. Good, she said. Then keep it that way. You can be furious. You can be devastated. Just don't be stupid. I left with a checklist. Separate passwords, separate finances, don't drain joint accounts, don't destroy property, don't send angry texts you'll regret in court. Real revenge, she told me, is surviving the paperwork. Mallory came in wearing one of my hoodies like she still owned me. Her hair was brushed, her face was soft. She was love-bombing, Mallory's emergency setting. Hey, she said, voice gentle, can we reset? I didn't answer right away. I poured coffee, watched the dark stream hit the mug like ink. Mallory walked closer and put her hand on my arm. I'm sorry you feel hurt. That phrase, sorry you feel, wasn't an apology. It was a trap dressed as comfort. I'm not confused, I said. You were in a hotel with Brent. She pulled her hand back, smile fading. It's not what you think. Okay, I said. Tell me what it is. She hesitated, not because she didn't know, because she was choosing the version that would cost her the least. We've been talking, she said. It got complicated. How long? I asked. Mallory's eyes flicked away. Why does it matter? We're here now. Because time is the difference between a mistake and a lifestyle, I said. Her jaw tightened. Evan, you're not perfect either. That was her favorite pivot. If she couldn't deny the fire, she'd point at your smoke. I didn't sleep with your coworker, I said. Mallory's face hardened. Stop saying it like that. Like what? I asked. Like the truth? She stood up straighter. You're trying to ruin my life. I lifted the manila folder slightly, not as a weapon, just a reminder. I'm documenting, I said. You ruined your life. I'm just not hiding it. Mallory's phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at it and went pale. Who is it? I asked. No one, she said too fast. It buzzed again. She grabbed it, turned away, and I saw the name flash on the lock screen before she covered it. Tessa. Mallory stepped into the hallway to answer, voice low and sharp. I didn't eavesdrop. I didn't need to. The tone was enough. When she came back, her sweetness was gone. You talked to her, she said. I shrugged. She talked to me. Mallory's eyes narrowed. She's jealous. Of what? I asked. Your honesty? Mallory's lips curled. You think she's on your side? She's using you. The funny thing is, she was right. Just not in the way she meant. Because later that day, Tessa met me at a small consignment shop near the edge of town. It was one of those places that stays open too late, lights buzzing, shelves full of other people's regrets, phones in plastic bags, jewelry in velvet trays, used purses lined up like tired animals. Tessa walked in and didn't look at the merchandise. She looked at me and said, I'm not doing this for you. I didn't ask you to, I replied. She swallowed. Mallory tried to take something from me, too. What? I asked. Tessa pulled out her phone and showed me a message thread. Mallory, months ago, texting Tessa's boyfriend late at night. Flirty, suggestive, not explicit, just enough to be poison. Tessa's hands shook. She told me it was harmless. She told me I was overreacting. She stared at the screen like it was a wound. She's been doing this for a long time, Tessa whispered. I nodded slowly. That's what I'm learning. Tessa looked up, eyes bright with anger. I have things, she said. Screenshots, dates. I kept them because I knew one day she'd call me crazy. I felt something cold settle in my chest. The twist wasn't that Mallory cheated. The twist was that Mallory thought she was the only one who could keep receipts. As we stood under the buzzing lights of that little shop, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. Stop, or your car won't start tomorrow. I stared at the message. Tessa watched my face. What is it? I looked out the shop window at the dark street beyond, and I saw a shadow move near my car. My car didn't explode. Life isn't an action movie. People who cheat usually aren't geniuses. They're just selfish. But when I stepped outside, the front tire was hissing, a slow, steady sigh like the car was tired of holding itself together. I crouched and saw the problem. The valve stem cap was gone, and the little pin inside had been pressed, not slashed, not dramatic, just enough to ruin your night and make you feel watched. Tessa's voice was tight. Call the police. I'm calling a tow, I said. Evan. Police reports are for crimes, I said. This is a message. I called the tow. Then I did the thing Gabe would have scolded me for. I followed the message. I walked to the corner of the lot, keeping to the light, and I saw a black sedan idling down the street. Brent's car. It wasn't hard to recognize. The shiny kind of black that tries too hard. A plate frame from an expensive dealership. A man who needs his car to say things his character can't. The sedan pulled away slowly. I got into Tessa's car. She tossed me the keys without arguing. and I followed. Not a wild chase, just a tense little tail through wet streets and red lights. The rain made everything reflect, traffic signals bleeding color on the asphalt like neon bruises. My hands were steady on the wheel. My heart was not. We hit an underpass where the sound of tires on water turned into a hollow roar. Brent's taillights glowed ahead like two angry eyes. He turned into a gas station, bright, busy, cameras everywhere. Smart. If he planned to scare me, he wanted witnesses to keep him safe. I parked 2 spaces away and got out. Brent stepped from his car, calm, smug, like this was his stage. Another man climbed out of the passenger side. Ray, I'd seen him once at a company picnic. Brent's shadow, a grin with a body. "Evan," Brent said. "You lost?" "No," I said. "You found me." Ray laughed. "Man, you're really doing the most." I ignored him and held up a printed photo. I'd printed it earlier, Brent's car at the hotel, captured in the lobby camera reflection when he'd walked in behind Mallory. A weird angle, but clear enough. Brent's smile faltered. "Smile," I said quietly. "This is going to your wife." Brent's face tightened. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know you're married," I said. "Mallory told me. She got sloppy." Ray shifted. "Bro, let's go." Brent didn't move. "You're threatening me." "No," I said. "I'm informing you." He stepped closer. "You send that, You'll what?" I asked. "Text me a motivational quote? Post about boundaries?" Brent's hands clenched and unclenched. His eyes flicked to the cameras. He couldn't hit me here. He knew it. He hated it. So he leaned in and whispered, "You think you're smart because you have a folder, but you don't get it. Mallory's leaving you. This is just cleanup." I laughed soft. Cleanup doesn't usually require valve stem sabotage. Ray's grin faded. "What did you do?" he asked Brent. Brent's jaw flexed. He didn't answer. I walked past them toward Brent's car, slow and casual, like I was just admiring the paint. Brent stiffened. "Don't." I stopped at the front grill. I reached into my pocket, pulled out a small bottle, and held it up. Fish sauce, cheap, pungent, legal to buy, illegal to pour where it doesn't belong. Maybe, but not dangerous. Just unforgettable. Ray wrinkled his nose. "What the hell is that?" "A lesson," I said. Brent lunged. Not a punch, not a full-on brawl, just a sudden shove, pure impulse. I stepped sideways, and he stumbled into the edge of his own car door, catching himself with a curse. Ray grabbed Brent's arm. "Man, stop!" Brent's breathing was heavy. "He's crazy." Ray looked at me, then at Brent, then back. His voice dropped. "You don't get it, man," he muttered to Brent. "He planned this." I leaned close to Brent, keeping my hands visible for the cameras, voice low as rain. "You're late," I whispered. Brent's eyes widened, just for a second, like he heard something behind my words. Then my phone buzzed. One new email. Subject, case opened. Internal review acknowledgement. I looked at Brent and smiled. "Drive safe," I said. And I walked away. Mallory's company had a glass lobby that made everyone look like they were underwater. I didn't go inside. I stayed across the street in my car, coffee untouched, watching through the windows. At 9:06 a.m., Mallory arrived. She walked like she owned the building, chin up, bag on her shoulder, confidence like armor. At 9:10, a woman in a navy blazer met her at the security gate. The woman spoke softly. Mallory's smile faltered. At 9:12, Mallory handed over her badge. At 9:13, Mallory's phone was taken, placed in a sealed bag. At 9:14, Mallory looked up, scanning the lobby like she felt eyes on her. I wasn't the only one watching. People always watch when someone's mask slips. My phone rang at 9:18 while I watched the lobby. I didn't answer. It went to voicemail. When I played it back later, a calm voice said, "This is the compliance office. We've received your report. We're opening an internal review. We may contact you for clarification. Please do not contact employees involved." No drama, No validation, just procedure. And somehow that was scarier than shouting, because procedure doesn't care about feelings. It just moves. Brent arrived at 9:22. He walked in with his usual swagger. The same navy blazer woman met him too. His swagger vanished in real time. He didn't argue at first. He tried to charm, he tried to laugh, he tried to make it small. The woman didn't laugh back. Brent handed over his badge. Mallory's head snapped toward him. Their eyes met. Their secret connection suddenly had fluorescent lighting. Mallory's face went white. 10 minutes later, Mallory stormed out of the building like a hurricane that realized it couldn't destroy glass. She crossed the street so fast she nearly stepped into traffic. She yanked open my passenger door and climbed in, breath sharp. "You did this," she said. I didn't ask what she meant. The building behind her answered. "I reported facts," I said. "You're obsessed," she snapped. "You're stalking me." I kept my voice even. I used public posts and shared records. You can call it whatever makes you feel better. Her eyes glittered with rage. "They took my phone." "They do that in investigations," I said. Mallory leaned closer, voice trembling. "You're trying to destroy me." I looked at her, really looked. "You're not destroyed," I said. "You're exposed." Mallory's phone buzzed in her hand, her personal one, not the work device. She checked it and made a sound like a trapped animal. "What?" I asked. She didn't answer. She kept scrolling, eyes widening. I leaned slightly and saw the screen. Her "Real Men Don't Get Jealous" post was back on everyone's feed, screenshotted, reposted, stitched into a dozen little commentary videos. People were dragging her with her own words, calling out the hypocrisy like it was entertainment. And then, tagged in the thread, was a woman I didn't know, Brent's wife. The profile picture was a family photo. Brent smiling, arm around her, 2 kids between them. Her comment was simple. "Which male friend is this about, Mallory?" Mallory's throat worked like she was trying to swallow glass. She whipped her head toward the building, toward where Brent had disappeared. "He told her," she whispered. I shook my head. "No," I said. "You told her. You just didn't know it yet." Mallory turned on me, voice rising. "You think you're so calm. You think you're the hero." "I'm not the hero," I said. She stared at me. I leaned in, quiet. "I'm the consequence." Mallory's eyes filled with something that looked almost like fear. Then she shoved my shoulder and scrambled out of the car, heels slipping on the wet pavement. A security guard from the building had followed her. He stepped between us automatically, hand raised. Mallory yelled over him, "You're going to regret this!" I didn't raise my voice. I just said, "I already regretted you. Now it's your turn." The guard looked at her like he wished he could unhear everything. Mallory spun and ran, phone still buzzing, reputation collapsing behind her like dominoes. And I sat in my car, hands steady, watching the glass building shimmer as if nothing had happened. But inside, I felt something shift. Not relief, not joy, just a clean, cold click, like a lock turning. Mallory came home that night with her face already made up for war. She stormed into the apartment, tossed her bag down, and started pacing like the floor owed her answers. "This is insane," she said. "You're acting like I committed a crime." "I'm acting like I found the truth," I said. She laughed, sharp. "Truth? You want truth? You were never enough." There it was, the real line, the one she'd been holding back behind her therapy speak. "You were safe," she continued, eyes bright with cruelty. "You were a place to land. Brent is a choice," I finished. Mallory's mouth twisted. "Yes, a choice." I nodded. "Okay." She hated that word now. "What are you doing?" she demanded. I walked to the closet and pulled out a manila envelope. Not my folder, a new envelope. Crisp, official. Mallory's eyes narrowed. "What is that?" "Documentation," I said. She scoffed. "More receipts? You're pathetic." I opened the envelope and slid out 2 papers. A petition for dissolution, filed earlier that day through my attorney, properly served to her email as well as printed for her because I didn't trust her not to pretend she never received anything. And a notice of change of beneficiaries on my accounts, done weeks ago, quietly, before any of this, because I'd learned the hard way that love can turn into leverage. Mallory stared, blinking. "You filed?" "Yes," I said. Her face flushed. "You can't just—" "I can," I said. "And I did." She stepped closer, voice shaking. "You're doing this because you're jealous." I looked at her. "No," I said. "I'm doing it because you're reckless." Her eyes darted around the room like she was searching for the old Evan, the one she could talk down, twist up, tuck back into his corner. He wasn't here. Mallory's phone buzzed again. She checked it and made a strangled sound. "What now?" I asked. She didn't answer. She just held the phone out, screen facing me. It was a message from Brent. "We need to talk. My wife knows. This is getting out of control." Mallory's hands trembled. "He's blaming me," she whispered. I shrugged. "Welcome to being useful until you're inconvenient." Mallory's eyes snapped up. "This is your fault." I smiled, slow. "You really believe that, don't you?" She lunged toward me, not to hit, just to grab, to take, to control. Years of habit. Tessa's voice came from the doorway. "Don't." Mallory froze like she'd been caught stealing. Tessa stepped inside, rain on her jacket, eyes hard. "I told you not to." Mallory stared at her. "You're here?" Her voice dripped with disbelief. "After everything?" Tessa laughed once, bitter. "After everything? Mallory, you tried to take my boyfriend. You tried to take my job lead. Now you're surprised I stopped covering for you?" Mallory's face twisted. "You're jealous." Tessa shook her head. "No," she said. "I'm done." Mallory's shoulders rose and fell, breath fast. "You two planned this." I looked at Mallory and didn't deny it. I didn't need to. "I planned my exit," I said. "You planned your lie." Mallory turned, grabbing her keys off the hook like she was fleeing a fire. "I'm going to Brent," she snapped. "He'll fix this." I didn't stop her. She stormed out into the parking lot, heels clicking like gunshots on concrete. Tessa and I followed, not to chase, but to witness the last crack in the mask. Brent's sedan was already there, parked crooked like whoever drove it was too angry to care. Brent stood by the driver's door, talking fast on his phone, face pale. When he saw Mallory, his expression tightened, not relief, but irritation. Mallory rushed up. "Why aren't you answering me?" Brent snapped. "Because my wife is calling my boss, that's why." Mallory flinched. "You said you had it handled." "I said you needed to stop," Brent hissed, eyes flicking to me and Tessa. "Look what you did!" Mallory's voice rose. "Me? Evan sent the report." Brent's eyes narrowed. "You brought him into it. You told him my name. You did this." The two of them stood under the parking lot light, faces slick with rain, blaming each other like kids caught breaking a window. And then Brent's phone rang again. He answered, listened, and his face collapsed. He hung up and stared at the wet ground. "What?" Mallory demanded. Brent swallowed. "I'm suspended," he said. Mallory's mouth opened, then closed. Her eyes went wild. No, you can't." Brent looked up at her, and for the first time he didn't look charming. He looked ordinary, scared, human. "You were fun," he said, voice flat. "Now you're expensive." Mallory's face twisted like she'd been slapped. She turned toward me, rage spilling out. "You did this!" I stepped closer, rain cold on my face, and I held up my hands, empty. "No," I said. "I stopped protecting you." Mallory's breath caught. Brent's car alarm suddenly screamed. Not because I touched it, because Brent's hand shook as he fumbled with his keys and hit the panic button by mistake. The sound ripped through the night, harsh and humiliating, pulling curtains aside in nearby windows. Neighbors peered out. Faces appeared. Witnesses. Brent cursed, trying to shut it off. The alarm kept screaming, painting him as the clown in his own collapse. Mallory looked around, realizing what she hated most wasn't losing Brent, or losing her job, or losing me. It was being seen. Tessa stepped forward and said, loud enough for the windows, "Real men don't get jealous, right?" Mallory's eyes snapped to her, and something in Mallory broke. Not into tears, but into pure, ugly emptiness. She whispered, "I hate you." I nodded once. "I know," I said. Then I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, and blocked her number. One tap. Clean. Final. The alarm finally stopped. The parking lot went quiet, except for rain. Mallory stood there, soaked, staring at a world that wouldn't bend for her anymore. I turned, walked back toward the building, and didn't look back. Behind me, Mallory made a sound, half sob, half laugh, like she'd just realized she was alone in the story she wrote. I opened the lobby door, stepped inside, and let it close. I didn't feel happy. I felt finished, and that was enough.